Right there, how's it going? A couple of things before I get into the video. First of all, if you're wondering why I'm posting more and more videos, it's because I'm trying to actually take it a bit more seriously. It's still a hobby, obviously I'm not going to get anything for it anymore, but I just enjoy doing them. And the more videos I do, the more interest it seems to gain. So, that's all good. It's like my cover, by the way. It looks quite wartime in that camouflage on this old tractor, but there you go. Anyway, the purpose of this video is just to explain why you should actually take care of this stuff. This quad is a 2008 Kawasaki KLF300. You may have seen it in a few of my videos. It's not mine. I didn't buy it. This is actually a neighbour's. Nothing against him at all. But this is why you should take care of it. Initially I had it in just as a starter. It is actually more of a complex job on these than I imagined. But it wasn't too bad. All I had to do was remove the original starter, obviously, there, but it's actually driven on a chain, not just by a worm gear. So all of this cover had to come off because there's a chain running from the starter there to the flywheel there. On a traditional sort of setup, like on that Kodiak, the starter literally just slots in and meshes with the flywheel. Anyway, that was simple enough. It's quick to do. But of course, then I went to start it, to take it back. The thing wouldn't start. Well, actually, the thing wouldn't even turn on. The key was completely stuck. And it wasn't because it was sitting out in the cold, because it was actually indoors at that point. I lost the storage to my own things since then, because I'm not going to put my own stuff outside. As you can see, it turns on now because I bought this key from China. Wouldn't buy, or didn't want to buy, should I say, a genuine key because they're 70 quid. So that one came for £5 from China. I don't ever use Chinese stuff because it just doesn't work. And if it does, it only works for a small amount of time. I tend to buy US made aftermarket parts or genuine parts. But anyway, that worked fine. So then it would turn over, but it hadn't had any spark at all. Now why hadn't it got any spark at all? Because it had been left outside and some moisture had got in somewhere. That's why you never leave these things outside, ever. This is stored outside permanently. And it was probably inhibited because I actually washed it for the first time in God knows how many years, because it was covered in gunk. I could not work on it as it was. So, for the past 3 months, yes, I've had this thing for 3 months trying to figure out this spark thing. If you didn't know, these KLF300s are pretty notorious for problems with spark. I've replaced the coil, I've replaced the CDI, I've replaced the ignition switch, I've replaced the kill switch, and it still does not work. Let me show you now. Full choke. Nothing at all. Another thing with this, when it was actually running, because I did get it running, obviously after I replaced the starter motor for a certain amount of time, is it smoked terribly. So I thought, well, that's a bit weird. So I checked the oil level, if you didn't already know. The oil checker on a KLF300 is right here. It should be right to the top, almost to the top. It was down there. There was virtually no oil in it. I drained the oil. There was, I don't know, 200 ml of oil in it. Should be about 2 litres. So, yeah. So now what you end up with is a brick. Doesn't run. When it does run, it smokes. It's just a piece of crap now, basically. Also, just a general lack of service and maintenance. So these are split and they click. I think they're split on both sides. You just can't perhaps see it on that one because it's on the other side of the boot. So it needs 2 new drive shafts as well. It's rusted to hell. It's been bashed to hell. The pull start wasn't working on it either. I did get that fixed. As you can see, not going to pull it over because my camera will probably go out front out my hands. One thing it does have are decent tyres. These are actually generally pretty bulletproof bikes if you actually look after them, but clearly this one has had a distinct lack of maintenance. So what should you do? You should change the oil. Change it frequently, change it at least every 6 months. It's not like a car, these things do require oil changes. Well, not that cars don't, but they require more frequent oil changes. Keep it inside if you can. If not, keep it under a proper cover with some sort of ventilation. Don't just leave it outside sitting under nothing. Keep a little water out of the electrics if at all possible. Don't use pressure washers on these things. And it's not good. It forces water where it shouldn't go. Other thing is, the speedo's broke on this because the cable's just completely snapped off. Not a big deal, but it's just thing after thing after thing which renders them scrap value, basically. If I were to take this to a dealer and just say fix it, it would probably cost somewhere in the region of £1,000. This bike's probably worth 1,500, so it's just uneconomical to fix, really. Unless you bring it to someone like me, he will do it for cheap. But obviously if I can't fix it, which I've now given up on this, it's no point me spending any more time on, because I can't really ask for much for doing it because it obviously doesn't work. So yeah, moral of the story is look after your stuff and you won't have these problems. As I say, I'm trying to do this on a bit more of a good basis. I've ordered a proper camera. I've downloaded some actual editing software. So hopefully this will be the last video where I'm just walking around continuously and pausing the video when I need to. So yeah, see you in the next one. Oh, and by the way, the Kodiak is now for sale. I'm going to put a link in the description. If you're from the UK, feel free to have a look. All works now fine. Sorted out the gear shift. Unbelievably, that was just a plug that come off. It's been you going out in the snow today, which was entertaining. That's another thing. If you take your things out, just try and clean them. If you leave mud caked all over them, it means that when you do eventually come to clean them, they're just ruined underneath. They're rusted and buggered. But yeah, bit of snow falling off it. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.